to another Lead In with Lorne, and kind of dressed up today because our 4 and 6-year-old granddaughters took Kathleen and me out for lunch today. Wow, really treated specially. So I'm carrying on the festivities right with you, but we're going to talk a little bit about being a little bit more thoughtful about both synchronous and asynchronous communication in a remote environment. You know, it's kind of interesting to note that Ford just announced that at least 30,000 of their people will be invited to permanently work from home or remotely if they choose to. And, you know, we're going to see more and more of these decisions made because they're the right business decision for the company. They're the right cultural environment for knowledge workers. We're going to see this happening more and more, and it's going to be a talent differentiator. So if you're a knowledge worker and you want to recruit the best people, if you don't have that kind of flexibility and offering for your workforce, you're going to be frankly left in the dust a little bit. So, but let's talk about a principle to think about, because here's a mistake that some leaders are making moving to these remote environments. They're trying to take the office and to replicate that remotely. Well, if you do that, you're going to end up with 12 hours of back-to-back Zoom meetings or whatever, Meet or Teams or whatever. And I'm telling you, it's not sustainable. You're going to blow your, your brains out doing it. And you're going to just be exhausted and you can't do it. Can't do it. And so we're starting to rethink through and learn from organizations that have been doing this for some time. And those organizations that have been successful at this, as successful intentionally allowing and supporting remote working as part of their culture, not as just a happenstance, but something they do with intentionality. One of the things that they do, one of many, and I'll talk to a number of them over these next few weeks, is that they are very clear about what needs to be synchronous, what needs to happen at the same time, and what needs to be asynchronous. So it's not uncommon when everybody's at campus that you can call things to happen synchronously. And even so, when you're at campus, how often do you see people running from one part of the campus to the other, meetings back to back, hour and they're scrambling and they're coming, flying in late into the meeting room and trying to get going. Even some of that's kind of goofy. But when you take that and you apply it to a remote environment, you're just taking away the running away from one part of the campus to the other. The questioning that's going on is what needs to be synchronous? When do we all have to be there at the same time? And then how do we really make sure there's an important kind of a purpose, a process, and a payoff for doing it? The famous 3 Ps, been around for a long time. What people are asking, though, that they're finding, what can be asynchronous? And here's why that's so helpful. If you know that it can be asynchronous, it means that not everybody has to be there at the same time. So one of those things is to post updates. If you want to post an update on something and you want to even invite dialogue on it, you don't all have to be there at the same time. A thoughtful leader or a project leader or someone who owns a project can do a 5-minute video, post it on some platform that's there and available. Typically, it could be something like Confluence or anything like that. And people then can get notified and they can show up and they can watch the video. They can post their thoughts on it. You can attach it to a Slack conversation. You don't all have to be there at the same time. Now, the beauty of that is that you can choose to manage your time well around how to really participate. You don't have to all be there at the same time. So let's get intentional about what needs to be synchronous. You really want people to show up, and what can be asynchronous, which really allows people to use their time more effectively. Supporting this, though, is a lot more documentation than we're used to. And that's why tools like Reich and other tools are becoming more used because people, when the documentation is there, typically you can find the answer, and you don't have to call a meeting in order to find something out or call someone. Typically, if you've asked a question, the answer is there. And if it's posted and documented, you can find out the answer to it. You don't need to use other people's time inefficiently because it's not convenient for you, or you don't know how to search for it to act that way. So act in your remote environment more like the internet than the old traditional campus office. And things are going to start to change for you. Emails are going to go down, meetings are going to go down, things are going to happen more efficiently and differently. And frankly, you're not going to be just consumed by one or after another of stupid back-to-back synchronous Zoom meetings that just don't make any sense anymore. It's hard because we get used to do it, so you just call a meeting for it. And that is not sustainable. There you go. My little poke at you. Know what you need. Be intentional about synchronous, asynchronous. Don't try and just make the office happen on the Zoom and remote environments. Change the environment. Make it remote. Take advantage of it. Make it look more like what the internet is about than what the old office is about. And you know what? We'll have a little more time to actually do value-added work, except, hitting our heads into a glass of wine or to a side of a wall after 12-hour Zoom meetings. Okay, that's enough from old uncle here. And I'm going back to, I don't know, maybe I'll watch some NCAA basketball. Hey, take care. Have a great, great week. Hang out with us as always. We love hanging out with you asynchronously, I might add. And keep poking at us and encouraging us and nudging us. Garrett and I love it. And we just love this dedication to belonging and to greater workplaces and better cultures. Thanks. Bye for now.